Hey, hello. What up? How Billy sees it. How y'all doing? It is 12/12, December 12th, 2022. And this is another episode of How Billy Sees It. Yeah. Thanks for being here. Whoever's watching this, I really appreciate it. You can't see my eyes with this, but sometimes it's harder for me to see the screen with the glasses off. So let me keep it on. Um, Close this. I hope everybody's doing well, man. The year's about to close. Can you believe it? The end of 2022. I honestly remember the start of 2022. I remember being, this transition the same period a year ago. After Thanksgiving, going into Christmas, trying to figure things out. I hadn't yet started working at Weed Maps. That started in 2022. So I was very much in a state of flux and juggling clients and trying to figure out what to do with my time after leaving CNN at the start of 2021. And man, it was a struggle. It was a struggle ever since leaving, but it's also been a brilliant test. And so many interesting things have happened, and it really pushed me and challenged me. And so many cool things have brought me to this moment. It's 2022, December, and I'm really proud of where things are, and I'm really excited. A year ago I didn't really have a path, a vision. I had a vision, but I didn't really have a tangible path. There wasn't much really going that I could show people, that I could show myself. I was really just testing waters and trying to figure it out. But we're here. And I guess I'll talk a little bit about that. But I'm feeling really good, y'all. I'm feeling really good. I hope everybody's feeling good. What a wild world. So much going on. All over the place. But we're here. And this is How Billy Sees It. And I'm trying to get on here every Monday. I feel like I say that all the time. And I have these bursts where I get excited. And I'm like, yo, I could do this every Monday. And I feel really free. And I feel really confident that I can come up with content and just talk on here. And then I'll do it. I might do it for a Monday or 2 Mondays. And I think I've gone 3 or 4 in a row before. And then eventually, things fall off. So I'm trying to clean that up and be consistent. There's so many different projects I'm working on, including the one on this hat, Breadlums. Really proud of this too. I'll talk a bit about that. But sometimes these other projects, they pull me in different directions, and then I get really focused on them. And sometimes I'm interested in being on camera, but sometimes I'm really not. I'm really nervous about it for some reason. I come up with these reasons, and then I fall off. But thankfully Sheba's there. We started Sheba Sunday. Every Sunday you can see my wife, the beautiful, talented Sheba. And she gives her take on things, and she talks about herself, and she talks about her comedy, and she's so dope. So that goes on at 1 every Sunday, and she's been pretty consistent, and she's been inspiring me to be more consistent because so far she's 3 for 3, 3 weekends, 3 times in a row. And she gets on here. It's funny, man, because y'all don't really see this setup. I have this thing. I'm doing this with Streamlabs, and you have like volume controls, and you have different scenes, right? Different scenes that'll pop up in different things, and she just plops in here and just goes at it, and I'm trying to kind of channel her confidence and her willingness to get in there. I spoke to a friend recently who said that he sees all this confidence in me and gave me some nice compliments and made me feel good about what I'm doing. But the truth is that I'm back here every day always feeling like I'm not doing enough, or that, man, Mondays I tell myself, oh, we did Saturday morning cartoons, we did Sheba Sundays, I do a little work for that, and I kind of say, okay, that's good. I fill up Breadlums, and then when Monday comes, I tell myself that I don't have to do these, but I need to change that. I need to just step into it, yo, and you know, again, this is another reset, and I think for 2023, I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna reset, and I'm going to really hold myself to stuff. You know, this is the challenge. I feel like a lot of times I get excited about the challenge of life. You know, like I said a year ago, I didn't have much of a sense of how things would go a year from then. Um, but man, I look back and I'm so excited by what we were able to pull off, what we've been able to pull off, and it comes from doing the thing every day. You know, that's the thing I have to kind of internalize and just accept and get into it, and not create narratives that produce anxiety and lean into the fear, like lean into the fact that everything works out as long as you step into it, you know, and do your thing. Um, so this is how Billy sees it. Every Monday, Sundays is Sheba Sunday, and on Saturdays we've continued to do very regularly Saturday morning cartoons, Sheba and I together, and that's been super dope. This last one was about boys, um, which means it was also about men, which means it was also about women and girls, right? We talked about just life and the way gender shows up and how boys are expected to be and how boys are, and we tried to redefine certain terms, and it was a really good conversation. So I hope you take a look at that. It's on this very channel in the Saturday morning cartoons season 2 playlist under boys. So yeah, but I'm here, man, and I'm really happy to be here at this point again. Just awareness of all the growth and where we've taken it, man. I had my first men's conference a couple of weeks ago. I spoke on a panel in front of a bunch of other men who have similar worldviews, and feel like it's an important discussion to talk about manhood and what it means and how it shows up in our society, and I was able to be a part of that. We launched Sheba Sunday. We launched Saturday morning cartoons all this year, all in 2022. How Billy sees it started with a video about the media, about the structural problems in CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC. That was the first video, you know. That was, I think, in 2021 I did that, though. I think in November of that time. So really, you know, less than 2 years from today. And that's evolved. And I've been able to come on here and talk about love and community and have philosophical conversations and also talk about topical shit. And I love it, man. And I just want to be consistent and keep growing this thing, yo, because it's funny how the vision has taken shape, and I'm really excited by it. I'm really proud of it. And thanks for everybody who's been with me in this journey and has seen the progress. And you leave a like and you watch, and I love it. So I appreciate that. Life is odd, man. Life's crazy. There's so much going on. So much going on. Last week, what is it? Britney Griner. Britney Griner's back in the United States. She's back with her family. She's safe. Shout to her. Shout to her loved ones and her family and everybody who's happy to have her back. Isn't it crazy, some of the commentary y'all been seeing? All these international hostage negotiator type motherfuckers on Facebook got all kinds of opinions and really hyping up all this controversy and all this. It seems to me a lot of contrarian bullshit. Seems like a lot of like I've seen people. I guess they traded her for a guy they call, what do they call him, the Merchant of Death or something. He has some cool internet title. And he's an arms dealer, and now everybody has an opinion and thinks that she's not worth the arms dealer, and then they bring in some other gentleman, an officer, an American officer who's stuck out there in Russia, something Whelan, and he should have been the one instead of Britney, or they should have been together. I'm seeing takes where they talk about war and violence in different parts of Africa, different African countries, and they're blaming Britney Griner for that. Even old historical wars, and of course they're talking about any previous the next one that might pop up, the next inflagration can be blamed on Britney Griner. I mean, it's just nonsense, you know. It's just we're in a phase that I think is a good thing, where I think there's a lot of discourse and, you know, people willing to jump in with their opinions. We don't need to hear from so-called experts, these experts on TV who are often carrying water for this interest and that, and they don't expose that. They just get on TV, and you hear these opinions. You think these are measured and objective, valuable opinions, when in fact they're not. Instead, now we're at a place where people can jump in and share their thoughts and their ideas as the news cycle keeps churning out new things. You know, the news cycle tells us, look at Britney Griner, look at Kyrie, look at Jerry Jones, look at this. And we all jump in. And I think the next phase is obviously for us to just keep improving our lenses and noticing our biases and challenging each other, so that our opinions aren't dumb and unhelpful. I think some of the opinions are just, you know, it's literally contrarian stuff. It's they're taking a page out of the playbook of like the Daily Wire, or even the cable news ones, and even like Newsmax. You know, the point is to get clicks, get attention again. It's not to engage in a discourse. It's to be seen and to be shared. And I worry about it a bit, you know. I'm trying not to worry about it, because these problems are way bigger than any of us. And but I think a lot about free speech. I think a lot about the media. It's been a passion of mine. The media, problems in the media have been a passion of mine for, I'd say, over a decade now. You know, I don't know if people know this, man, but I started a website back in 2007, 2008, with an old friend and roommate. It was called slepton.com. And, you know, slept on, the whole idea was about ideas and movements, political events that are slept on, that are ignored by the mainstream media. And so we covered it in our magazine. We teamed up with different writers in different parts of the country, and I did that with that partner for about 4 years, I believe, and it was really an interesting project. But now, you know, since then I went to grad school, and then I went to, you know, I started BB Digital and got into CNN and animation on the levels that I'm doing it now. And I can't believe, you know, how things have evolved. And all the while the technology's just improved, so that everybody's in this game now. You know, Slept On might have been a bit early, you know. But now people can start their media projects and be involved and engage in this discourse. And it's just so interesting to see how it's evolved. I think it's better to be diffused in the hands of so many of us, right? The discourse, rather than to be in the hands of just elite journalists and commentators and talking heads. But like I said, the combo has to be, we have to just keep improving. We have to keep being interested in truth. And that's why, like, when I first left CNN and I was dealing with the issue of free speech and thinking about the challenges of media and how we can move forward, you know, one of the first things I did was to really dive deep in my bag of like philosophy, to talk about why we care about truth, and like what truth is, and why we should care about it, and how we can ascertain it, and to talk about truth in a more serious and meaningful way than we typically do. 'Cause I think the average person has a sense that truth is a simpler thing than it actually is, you know? And I think we're in a process now. Everything's just kind of evolving. We're learning, and we have to learn more quickly that multiple truths can be true, and that every truth has underlying assumptions that are underneath them. And even if they're true, you know, some of those assumptions can be faulty, and that they can lead you to an unhelpful truth, or a truth that is incomplete in some way. And so there's value in taking in truths from other people and getting other perspectives, you know what I'm saying? Because everything that we call true, every belief that we have, it rests on other beliefs that are our own and are personal, and that the world is much more complex than what we each perceive, you know? So I'm just seeing this play out in interesting ways, you know, because not just with Britney Griner, but also with Kyrie, questions of free speech and truth. Also with Kanye, you know, as much as I think he's proven himself to be not only mentally ill, but, you know, not a great person. He's still out there. People are still exploiting his mental illness for clicks. He should be somewhere away from the public eye, but, you know, whatever. Not only that, but Twitter, Elon, this whole Twitter stuff, more free speech questions. Fox News is under a major lawsuit, 1.6 billion, that I'm hoping, we should all be hoping that they lose. We should all hope that they lose. There needs to be a bigger, more in-depth and more meaningful discourse around what is free speech? What does it mean? How do we exercise it? What are these titles that we give each other? Like journalist. Who's a journalist? And why? What does it mean? Who's an artist? Who's a storyteller? You know? I think these are things we take for granted. And we all have these supercomputers in our pocket. We have this capacity to distribute our ideas, even our offhand bad ideas. We can distribute them far and wide to thousands. I mean, you don't even have to be a big time influencer to reach thousands with your potential trash. You know, that's an interesting thing. And, you know, that trash goes into other people's minds. It produces other conversations. If someone gets on Twitter and just starts saying some nonsense, other people will respond to that, you know, even if it's not true, even to rebut the false statement. The fact that there would be a platform for discourse around a false statement means that the false statement has power, you know? And we don't right now have the mechanisms to kind of deal with that, you know? We just have a lot of information being thrown out in the air, and much of it is completely wrong. And so it's going to be hard because, you know, how do you ground yourself in stuff, you know? So the value of truth, having a real interest in hearing measured voices who are attempting to ascertain truth, not just, you know, opportunist voices who are attempting to get your attention. Those are two different things, even though they might look the same. And, you know, as we go through this transition, I think it'll be very important for us to kind of build the skills to be most interested in, and I believe the former. I believe the first one I said, which is the ascertaining of truth. Yeah, man, the Britney Griner thing just blew my mind. It just showed me that, yeah, man, even on the interpersonal level, you know, a lot of us are just gonna copy the playbook from the big boys who are just getting attention, just getting clicks, Just saying shit. Don't care about Britney's life. Don't care about international law. Don't know anything about international law or norms. These aren't. I don't think these are governed in law like that. But norms around prisoner swaps and things like this. Have no interest in that history. You just heard something. Let me just say something. Blah, 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 blah. That's the thing. And that's even in like relationship stuff. I realized that like Sheba and I on Saturday morning cartoons in a very somewhat formal but very informal way, you know, we talk about our relationship and we talk about the nature of relationships and we talk about ways of being in relationships. You know, Sheba and I really value our capacity to be really honest with each other, and we've set up some systems on a monthly basis where we get to re-up on our understanding of what we are, you know. So it's a different it's actually kind of different from the typical arrangement where most people typically they come into a relationship, they already have a sense of what it means to be a boyfriend or a husband. Women already have a sense of what it means to be a wife or a girlfriend. And you know what we did is, and what we continue to do is to um, sort of consult with each other on those terms and on those definitions, and to allow the space for those things to evolve. I love it. I think it's a great move. I would try to, you know, spread that idea to others, but everyone's doing that again. So in this space, so beyond politics, beyond international shit, you know, in the relationship space, there's a burgeoning kind of industry of relationship advice people and couples, right? Um, there's dudes talking to dudes. There's Andrew Tate and your boy Kevin Samuels and a couple of these other guys on the internet. Then there's the couples like Derrick Jaxn is a new one this past week. And real talk, I don't know a great deal about Derrick Jaxn. I just know that he had some success, he and his wife, at talking about their relationship. And they have a more conservative, Christian kind of situation from what I understand. Um, and apparently, apparently that hasn't worked out. He's been, again, I don't even know the details, but they're not together anymore. And people are going in on this poor woman. They're also going in on him. I guess the whole thing just has to play out, you know, like people people jump out, people take the risk to be out in a public sphere with their relationship, with whatever they're doing, with their thoughts, their ideas. I'm doing the same thing. And you take that risk and your ideas get tested, and you know, whatever you put out there, people are gonna kind of hold you to that. So that's the thing, you know, in the relationship joint, at least. That's why for me, you know, as Sheba and I go through this process, we just try to keep it 100, man. You know, it's pretty clear. I wrote something about this on my website, billyblunt.com. I wrote, "May you live in interesting times." It's a little bit of a short article I wrote about how I viewed relationships when I was a younger person, when I was 16. How I viewed relationships and how I handled jealousy. I think I handled it poorly back then, but now as a 40-year-old married person, you know, my perspective is rather different, and I talk about that and how I got there. We're in a non-monogamous relationship. Um, you know, Sheba and I spend probably 98% of our time together being monogamous, right? If you look at us, 98% of the time, we'd be indistinguishable from a monogamous couple. But there is that 2%, and in that 2%, we give ourselves the freedom to date. We hang with other people. I can hang with women. She can hang with men. We can hang with whomever we want. We have a couple that we love and spend time with occasionally when time permits. And we hang out. And they're a lesbian couple, and they're fine as hell. And they're a lot of fun. This is something I don't really talk about a lot, frankly, because actually in my last therapy session, my therapist was asking me why I get weird and kind of quiet about this aspect of my life. And I don't know. I do want to kind of be more comfortable in that space because I think it's an interesting thing to talk about, and it's true, and it's a great relationship. It's a very sexy relationship. I feel like I'm in a dream for lots of reasons. Um, Everything that I've said so far about all the projects and the stuff we've been working on, and I'm so happy with Sheba. But Sheba and our friends Elle and Gina, they get along amazingly well. Everybody really loves each other. There's a lot of mutual respect, and there's a lot of fun times. And I think we wanted to put that out Front Street early because just to be clear, like, you know, you're not gonna hold us to some other standard. And you know, if some weird picture or video pops up, it's like, hey, that's life. We're honest, and we're doing us, and we do our best to do everything above board, you know. No dishonesty. You know, every month we do our thing to just kind of check in and make sure that we're all on the same page, and it's a dope thing. But I guess I'm all over the place there. Kinda. The point is, like, I think no matter who, like, if we're all participating in the discourse and talking about what goes on in the world, it's helpful to ground yourself in yourself, to realize again that there's, like, truth isn't an objective thing. And so each of us, as we talk about our truths, to be clear and honest and transparent about sort of where we come from. What are the perspectives that we hold that govern the way we see the present event, you know? So that's that. So I look at Derrick Jaxn, and I see him getting roasted. I see his wife getting hassled online too. And I go, dag, I really hope, you know, we don't have to deal with anything like that at all. But I realize that that is sort of the risk you take when you put yourself in the public view sometimes. So, and I think that that's one of the things that gets me a little bit anxious when I skip Mondays, when I don't do this show. It is partly me, you know, overthinking all kinds of things about the audience, and having these details, these windows into my life, you know, on the internet like this is a little bit daunting for me. It feels like it's less daunting for Sheba, you know, just because she just seems to just dive in. But you know, like I said, I'm learning from her to just let go and have fun and be honest and get on here and do our thing. And I do feel like I have a lot of stuff to share. So, you know, I have a unique perspective that comes from unique experiences, yo. I can't believe I'm 40 again at this place at this time, doing the things I'm doing. And I just feel so excited about the future. And I want to share the process. The process, yo. The process has been really nutty. And the process is laden with risk. What's up, Sheaves? It's full of risk. But life is risk. What life isn't risk? Other than some life in a bubble somewhere, you know? If life is risk, then I want to grab the reins and take the risks on my terms, take the kinds of risks that I think have the best benefit and the best chance. So that's what we've been doing, man. And it's been fantastic. It's been fantastic. I feel so lucky. So yeah, Breadlums. Coming soon. Breadlums. 2023. Have you seen the trailer? Have you seen the trailer? If you haven't seen the trailer, right after this video, Google Breadlums or YouTube Breadlums, and you will see it's BREADLUMS exclamation point. And that is the new cartoon that is coming out soon. How Billy sees it. What else is going on, yo? I feel like I ran through the two things I had written down, which is Britney Griner and Derrick Jaxn. If we're talking about the process, then let me talk a little bit about sort of my process that got here, man. Like, you know, I'm constantly, like I said before, I have this thing where I feel like I'm not doing enough, and it's a problem. I realize it's not true. I realize it's not accurate. It's in my head. I have a gut feeling, a deep gut anxiety that is just kind of always operating on a low level, where I feel that I'm supposed to be working on something, and it's been way worse. I'd say, you know, before being married, man, just being alone, having no one to check that or challenge that, or no one to bounce those ideas off of, man, I would just crank out stuff. And I'm sure on the outside it looks like super productive, but for real, it's a manic kind of approach to artistic creation. And I'm grateful that I'm the type of person with the energy, and you know, I don't get sick very often. I'm just, you know, I'm someone who can pull an all-nighter and produce something of quality. I've also put in the work to be good at these tools, at these creative programs that I use. But when I left CNN, I didn't know what to do, man. So the process for me has been becoming more and more comfortable in myself, where I take risks because instead of taking risks in the past, it was like this compulsive, gotta do something, gotta act, gotta step it up. I'm not there yet. You know what I'm saying? And now the risk comes from really, I can sense a different place. It comes from a deep appreciation for life and the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like we sit here with all the problems in the world that I'm overly familiar with. These issues internationally, politics and economics and religious strife and this racial strife and gender and all these categories that we can go into to talk about problems in the world. You know, I'm on here in my office room, in my beautiful house, on a high-speed internet. There are 4 people, it seems. It's the machine's telling me that there are 4 people watching me right now live. Later on, you know, my videos sometimes get hundreds, sometimes 1,000 or so viewers. What a privilege. What an amazing privilege. I can imagine being in a time and place, let's say right here on this plot of land in Maryland, in a different time just 10, 20 years ago, where this wasn't possible, where my anxieties and thoughts and the things that I am going through, I don't have the opportunity to share it to a lot of people. Maybe I could write it down, and maybe a couple people might find it interesting. If I'm lucky, I could publish it, find a publisher, and maybe more than a couple people find it interesting. But how crazy is it to be here at this moment in 2022, about to be 2023, and I get to click a couple of buttons and then come reach and talk to y'all. What a privilege. And, you know, and then I get to do the same. I get to click on, you know, I get to go click on your video and see the memes and the shit that you're sharing, the ideas, the problems that, you know, as you articulate your journey and your process and how you navigate the difficulties in your world, which are different from mine. To me, it would be a huge shame. Particularly, this is my field too. Like, I do video production, I do animation. Like, I'm intensely lucky, bro. That's something I have arrived at. I'm intensely lucky. I'm intensely grateful, and I would be remiss to sit on my hands and choose not to share what I know, and choose not to create, and choose not to engage in these things, in these conversations. So I can't do that. But I think it's a world of difference to come at it from a place of joy and appreciation for the privilege of life and for the moment, than to be constantly thinking that I'm behind something and that I need to catch up, and to be punishing myself for that, because I'm definitely one of those, man. The way I motivated myself for much of my life was through fear and anger, and through, like, I berate myself. Get your shit together. Get the fuck up. I played football in college at Stonybrook, and I used to draw these things on the wall. I used to draw. I lost it, man. But I took a piece of paper and I drew a hand with a stopwatch, right? And so you see the stopwatch, and this was my 40 time. I put my 40 time on the stopwatch. And I had a piece of paper I could take off, and we would get tested on our official 40 times every couple of months, and I would look forward to that, and I would improve my 40 time, and I wanted it to be public and put it on the wall, and it motivated me to get up and to run and to run and to run and to run and to practice my form. And that was for the 40 times. Also with interceptions, I drew this guy catching interception with two hands, and I had a number. It was just my goal for how many interceptions I wanted in the season. I played 4 seasons at Stonybrook University. I was a starter for 2 of those seasons. 3 of those seasons. I think sophomore year I shared starting time, and then junior, senior year I was a starter. So, and I remember this girl I was seeing at the time, she would sometimes joke, and she was like, what are all these posters? It was like 3, 4 other ones. They were very motivating. They were for me. But I liked the public nature of them because they made people ask me about them, and it created stress, So I told myself I was gonna have 4 interceptions this season, let's say. And by the time we get to the midway mark of the season, you only have one. You only have 1 interception. People would ask, and it would put me in a position to have to think about that. What do I have to do to get 3 more interceptions? Now, the truth is, I was a good football player, not a great one. And at safety, in 4 years, I got 4 interceptions. I got an interception once every season at Stonybrook. I was more of a hitting cornerback safety. You know what I mean? Came up, knock a motherfucker out. You know what I mean? Really torpedo my body out there. I was a tough football player. I wasn't the interception guy, but that's just how I oriented myself, and that's how I set stuff up. So even into adulthood, I would challenge myself publicly, so that I could risk the public shame, so I could risk being asked about the failure to meet the goal, and the anxiety around having to say, oh yeah, I couldn't do it, was just a big driver for me, and eventually, like I said, like, even these goals that I don't meet, like, the point is to meet the goal. But also, more than that, I'll tell you what, even though I didn't meet the goal, every day I put this work in because of the public claim, So I guess I've always tried to find ways to work with myself because I know what motivates me. I know how I can be. I know what pisses me off. Um, I know with football, for instance, I needed to be pissed off. Being pissed off made me better, made me a better player. So I would invent stuff. I would just come up with stuff. I would pretend the running back was talking to my girl, or that the other team was being disrespectful in the locker room. In the locker, they were visiting us and they were peeing on the lockers or something. Just make that up in my head, just so I can hate them, so I could not feel any remorse. I had a little bit extra fight. You know what I mean? It's a real kind of underdog thing. I got that from high school. I mean, really, the roots of that was back in high school. This is how I got good in high school. Was through thinking of myself as like, I gotta make myself a weapon. I gotta blah blah blah. But all that shit is really anxious though, yo. That's real angsty stuff, I never really got on the football team in college or high school or college. Got on the football field with a deep sense that I'm the fucking man, That wasn't ever really my approach. My approach was everyone's doubting me. Everyone thinks I can't. And it gave me good results. But I think at 40, I feel really lucky now where, I've done so much. My resume proves that I'm capable of certain things. I have a lot of experiences under my belt. I can credibly claim to know what the hell I'm talking about, and what I'm doing. And I can approach the challenges with, instead of the underdog mentality, more of like, I got this. I got this. I am capable. This is my space. This is my arena. And it's been a tough shift though, because it wasn't an easy shift, and I still relapse. I relapse into a sense of doubt and fear and anxiety sometimes. But how amazing is it to have a wife like Sheba, who brings so much positive energy and so much positive reinforcement, and really finds ways to challenge me when I tell her, when I say I don't know if I can, this, that, and she very cleverly bolsters me and puts a battery in my back and reminds me of what I am and who I am and what I'm capable of. Huge privilege, yo. I don't know that everybody has a person like that in their corner. And I wish that they would. I wish that everybody could find someone like that. I wish that each of us could develop an understanding of how powerful it is to be affirmed that way. We talked about boys in our last thing. Real talk. This isn't the kind of affirming messages and energy I get from Sheba is also fairly new to me. It's not a typical approach that I'm familiar with, real talk, because I grew up around a lot of boys where our thing was ragging on each other. We made fun of each other for everything. We tried to make each other feel that was just how we showed love, Maybe it was a lack of comfort in the kind of affirming love, lack of comfort in hugging, lack of comfort in saying I love you, bro. Whenever we said I love you, we had to, I love you, nigga. We had to kind of downplay it. Lack of intimacy, platonic intimacy. I feel like I'm rambling a bit, but I don't think I am actually. Let me come back to it. It is in this moment, realizing that I'm really capable of anything that I attempt. And I know what I'm talking about. I'm well read. I'm well thought. I'm creative, I'm kind of used to having to prove stuff. And I am not in a position where I need to prove so much. I can simply be, and to be confident in being. You know, I'm actually able to notice on the Derrick Jaxn joint, on the Britney Griner joint, on Jerry Jones, on so many issues, on so many political issues, Biden, whatever. Notice that my take is solid, you know? I watch some people have their different takes on stuff. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Damn, that's the dumbest thing I've read. You know? To know that I can participate in a discourse, I can participate in a creative endeavor. I might not be able to run the 40 like I used to, but I can go out there and play ball, and whatever I do is good, you know? That confidence and that approach is wildly different. It's producing different results for me. It's producing a different energy and a calm and an ease that I think has effects that can't fully be, you know, quantified, and but it's just been dope, you know. So 2022 has been a lot about risks, and it's been a lot about refining stuff. When I first started, it was a shotgun blast. Boom! I was putting out Instagram shorts. I was doing cartoons. People check my YouTube page from 2020. I was trying to crank out a cartoon every week. So every day on Mondays, I would come up with a concept and write the script and try to think of how to draw this and how can I do this in a week. And it was such a struggle early on, yo. Sheba knows, man. I set this goal for myself, and it was a struggle, and I didn't believe I could draw that well because I hadn't drawn so much. So some of the stuff I was doing wasn't up to snuff in my mind, and it just kind of led to this anxiety. But doing it, getting in and doing it every day, rethinking it. You know, you can't do a big, detailed, dense, lush cartoon once a week. If you've chosen once a week, if that's what you've chosen, you're gonna have to creatively work within that framework and create something that can be constructed within a 7-day period. That's the challenge you've given yourself. And so at the time, I was able to do that, and we cranked out videos. Sheba did some voice work with me on it, and it was great. And when I did the CNN, the cable news critique video, it's so funny, like this sense of self. I was still thinking of myself as a producer at CNN, and so when I wrote this thing, I wrote a very academic sounding thing. I hope the script is still out there, the old script. I gotta check if the old script is there, but the old script was like very academic sounding, man, and it was just, I wrote this whole thing and I gave it to Sheba, and she read it and she was like, "What is this? Why? This doesn't sound like you." And so I went back and rewrote it and wrote it, and just leaned into my voice, leaned into my anger, because I was angry at the state of things. January 6th and the Trump presidency and all these very consequential events were happening, and from my vantage point, at the root was bad information from our information sources. At the root was a country that's been split into different factions because of corporate media, you know. But my first draft wasn't like that. My first draft was like the media has always been a difficult space, and blah blah blah. I can't remember what I put in there. And I gave my nods to journalists and my nods to Noam Chomsky for his work in his media critique. So I was able to do that again, but this time with my voice and with some freedom. And I love the product that came out, you know. I think that's going to stand the test. I think it's still very relevant and dope and important. So one of the beautiful things is, like I said, being present is this ability to notice that, yo, you're different. You are different every day. You're not like this. We have this like attachment to our physical bodies. You know, my face. I come on this thing. I have the same face that I had, 3 weeks ago. Yet I'm a different person today than I was 3 weeks ago. This person you're looking at right now has gone through a virtual launch party for Breadlums with my team, and it was awesome. It was a dope success, and we're moving forward and all this stuff. The person you're looking at right now has launched, Sheba Sunday with Sheba. We're on episode 3 with that. The person is now has I think an improved relationship with his mom. He speaks with his mom more regularly and more honestly. My mom and I have a better adult relationship, I think, than we've had before. In the past, it was a more congenial kind of relationship, but we didn't get into stuff, and I think we do that now. And so I have that perspective, which is always different. And so I can free myself of like previous versions, without malice. Love those previous versions, but operate in the present. When I write something, I can write with the voice of the present. If I want to, if it's an academic space, I can assess it and say, okay, let me bring a more academic tone to this. But if it's another thing, I can assess it and bring a different energy there. That's the kind of creative flexibility we all have. And so, again, back to just feeling really lucky, feeling a lot of gratitude that I have the perspectives that I have the wife that I have, the technologies that I'm able to employ, and to tell these stories, because guess what? We're going to tell these same stories like I'm doing now in this platform here, but through Breadlums, It's going to be nuts. It's going to be absolutely nuts to put these observations through a creative ringer of like this crazy bread world. And these crazy characters that we've made up. I can't wait for y'all to really check them out. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. And in fact, let me just play this trailer real quick so that you guys can see it. And I'm going to switch. Whoa. Here we go. All right. Turn that on. I can't wait for y'all to really check them out. You're going to love it. Interesting. Hold on. Okay. And going back to this. Here's the Breadlums trailer. For those who haven't seen it, you should go see it yourselves. I'm actually going to take my webcam off so you can see the whole thing. Here we go. it came on. Yeah, man, that's Breadlums, yo. Let me pull this back. That's Breadlums, and so much time went into that trailer. I'm so happy we got it out. But that is just the beginning for us. We're gonna we got way more content coming out, and please do check it out and sign up on YouTube to the Breadlums trailer. I'm sorry, to the Breadlums channel. And check out Sheba Sundays every Sunday at 1. And check out Saturday morning cartoons every Saturday at 11 a.m. And come back here around now, 8 o'clock every Monday. I'm going to do this. We're going to get on here. We're going to talk about everything under the sun. So, what? We hit about an hour now. That's about it. Thanks very much. How Billy sees it. Have a good one.